another episode of Navigating Wellness. Now, life often has this way of showing us the things that we don't always want to see in life. Things we tend to run away from because they make us feel frustrated, annoyed, or just plain uncomfortable. But what we don't realize is life may just be holding up a mirror. And the strange part is these things that tend to trigger us have less to do with the other person or object that is triggering it and more to do with something deep within us. And I'm not talking about this from a place of mastery or from having figured it all out, but from being on this journey and having observed this multiple times and noticed these repeating patterns in life that constantly keep coming about. And it's only once we change the way we respond to it instead of reacting with our usual mannerisms, then only do we transcend these types of events in our life or these types of situations, because it may be that it's got absolutely nothing to do with the person that is mirroring these hidden beliefs, emotional traumas that are deep within us that just don't get enough airtime in our life. And they constantly reappear through these repeating patterns in our life. And it's only once we bring conscious awareness to it and really go through this process of trying to understand what are these deep-seated hidden beliefs that we break this chain. And the reason this is so important is because we're living in a world of constant distraction. Our minds just don't tend to focus on it. We're always focusing on the surface level, on the gossiping, on the issues that bother us, getting caught up in the drama at the surface level, but never diving deeper to really truly understand where these situations or these patterns that we keep repeating in our life are really arising from. And there are multiple ways in which we can overcome this, especially if you're someone who has a distracted mind. I know I'm guilty of this as well, because we live in this age of distraction where many of us are almost programmed to be distracted with all the instant gratification that is all around us, these cell phones and mobile devices that we're constantly using, and having the internet at the tip of our fingers. When you just think of something and you can immediately Google the answer, it's like this mind of us has been almost like it's being taken over by external stimuli that makes us unable to really delve into these deep-seated issues and really transcend them, and leaves us stuck in this repeating patterns and constantly reacting to situations and finding ourselves diving deeper and deeper into this very frustrated lives, never really finding breakthroughs and overcoming them. However, there are simple exercises that can help us keep our mind focused and get to the root cause of a lot of these things that are really bothering our mind. Sometimes you have this annoying thought or sense of frustration with a particular thing that just keeps coming up in your mind, or situations that just keep mirroring in your life those deep-seated beliefs that we don't want to address. And this simple exercise is journaling. Like, just take a pen and a piece of paper. Don't even use your computer, because when you use your computer, the problem is we always have this tendency to want to do something else on the computer. Soon enough, we even forget what we intended to do in the first place. Having a journal that is specific to this purpose of just writing down what is bothering you. Start by writing down the question, why am I reacting this way? A simple thing like that, and just going through the motions, just jotting down whatever comes to your mind, but keeping your mind focused to answering the question. The way I find journaling to be a really powerful exercise is that it allows us to enter into those deeply vulnerable positions, to really be completely honest with ourselves, and to just be within ourselves. Have your pen and paper and jot down whatever comes to your mind. And this allows your mind to just focus on the exercise and really get into those questions like, are you tying your self-worth to the way in which others treat you or see you in this world? And this often is one of those key questions that many of us who find ourselves blaming others for a situation in our life or because of certain reactions, by going through this exercise, we can learn to identify those deep-seated beliefs. And once you addressed it, when you start to respond differently to those situations, when those triggering situations just don't bother you anymore. And I'm not saying it happens overnight. This is something that it may continue to occur in your life, and be compassionate with yourself when you keep responding the same way, because It's not easy. Once you've programmed the pattern in your life, then you'll find that automatically you will just respond. It takes a lot of conscious awareness in this process and a lot of self-love and self-awareness to come to that state where you can appreciate that this and identify before you react the situation and choose to respond differently. But all this takes time, and it takes a lot of conscious awareness. And really, sometimes it's even about just calling in for that divinity and for God to guide you through these moments, because you can be in the heat of frustration, and anger can often compel us to reacting instead of responding consciously. And these are opportunities, and sometimes it's important for us to just shift our perspective and to recognize that each time it's an opportunity to respond differently. It's not about just solving it through journaling alone. It's about integrating the conscious response to it, like getting over those beliefs. And to reprogram beliefs isn't that simple as just saying, okay, I've identified it, I'm just going to reprogram it. It takes a lot of time, action, and change in behaviors, change in patterns, and then we slowly start to rewire these new beliefs and allow ourselves to respond more consciously to such triggering events. Spiritual perspective, it's like as if the world is one giant classroom. These triggering events, things that annoy you, frustrate you, that keep on serving as repeating patterns, they're actually teachers in disguise. These are not just random happenings in your life. They're actually coming to you with a purpose, to show you those hidden beliefs and bring them to the surface so that you can work on them and recognize them and break the cycle so that they no longer repeat in your life or be carried forward in your future lives. And that is, from a universal perspective, the reason why we tend to constantly encounter these similar repeating patterns in life. Mirror principle isn't always easy to apply in life. Many of these situations can make us feel really, really uncomfortable, and it's really easy to just allow for that automatic reaction. And sometimes these events can also feel really unfair. I know there were many times in my life when I felt like it's just plain unfair, and I allowed myself to become victim to these repeating patterns, but it never solved anything. It's only when we lean into it with curiosity and we allow ourselves to let go of that resistance and to allow for those deeper reflections to turn into the greatest catalysts for our growth in our life. That is when we truly transcend these repeating patterns and break the shackles that tie us to these patterns that constantly erode the quality of our life. Maybe the next time something or someone gets under your skin and annoys the hell out of you, try to see it as a mirror. Try to use it as an exercise to do that deeper reflection and observe the gifts that this exercise can bring to your awareness. That you don't have to fall victim to these situations, that you can actually rise above it and transcend it and transform your life for the better. As always, I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any comments, drop it down in the comment section below, and I hope to see you in my next video.